Okay, Wendy, the recording is in process.
Yep.
Um, I don't know what the day is. I know it's Sunday. I don't know the
Yep.
exact date that it is. It's early in the morning. All I know is it's the day after.
It's the day after. Yeah.
It's the day after. Wendy, we're having to get on here early on actually Sunday morning. You're going out of town for the week. We didn't have
Yep.
any other time to do it. You called me last night and you're like, Trey, we have to do this in the morning. I'm going to be out of town all week, and I don't want anybody to think that you're running from what was a wild college football Saturday, Wendy. And it's just kind of hidden here in the month of October. Everybody's kind of doing their thing.
Yep.
If you're an Alabama fan, you're going to play Vandy at Vandy. Hadn't been an issue since most of us were alive. And what do you want to start with, Wendy? Do you want to start with the Ole Miss game?
Trey, no,
Yep.
we are starting with the Alabama game. I mean,
Well, Ole Miss beat South Carolina.
well, I don't care about Ole Miss right now. God, I don't care
Uh,
about Ole Miss.
what about Georgia beating
Well,
Auburn? You want to go over
no,
that
Trey,
first?
no, we're gonna
Georgia
we're
beats
gonna talk
Auburn.
about the travesty that was yesterday. We're gonna talk about the travesty that went down in Nashville, Tennessee. That's what we're gonna talk about first.
Well,
Maybe the whole podcast.
what about Texas A&M beating Missouri, beating the brakes
Right?
off Missouri?
You hate Texas A&M, and I've said from the jump that Missouri was nothing. I mean, I've said it from the jump. I don't even know why they were ever in the top 10.
Well, what do you think about talking about the Tennessee Volunteers going down to Arkansas
We'll
last
talk about
night?
that second. We'll talk about that second. That's the only thing that took the sting away. That's the only little thing that took the little bit of sting out of what happened yesterday. That's
It,
the
it,
only thing.
yeah, that's the only thing, Wendy. And we're being a little bit coy here. It's obviously what we need to talk about is the
Yeah.
Alabama Vanderbilt game. Wendy, I actually could not write the score down right. I kept putting Vandy with 35 and Alabama with 40. That's not the way the game ended. Vandy
No.
scored 40 points on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama only scores 35 points, Wendy. And all things that I thought was going to be involved in a Saturday, getting Alabama getting in a shootout with Vanderbilt was way down the list.
No. Never thought. Listen, I almost looked past the game. We're getting ready to go on a cruise. So, we've got a lot to do here. I was in Tuscaloosa Thursday and Friday, came back early Saturday. We're getting on a plane in a couple hours. So, I've got a lot to do. Really didn't even think about the game all day. You know what I mean? Was just like, I mean, again, I want to remind everybody, I said it last week, and they're called hangover games for a reason. All they did was talk about Alabama last week and how we're the greatest thing that ever lived. Everything on X, everything on Facebook, everything on TikTok was Alabama, Alabama, Alabama. And I knew, like, I thought, they're giving these kids, they're young kids, a big head, and they're just thinking, oh, it's Vanderbilt. Well, let me remind everybody Vanderbilt got screwed out of a game early this year from some calling. They've not, almost beat Missouri in overtime. That also was a really bad called game. I didn't think that Vanderbilt with this quarterback was just going to be a rollover team. That wasn't ever my thought. I just thought we'd make a few mistakes and maybe get behind a little bit and then just come back and whoop them, third or fourth quarter. That's really, really what I thought. I I'm going to start with giving props to Vanderbilt. I'm not going to sit here and bash this team. I mean, I'm not going to do it. They outplayed us yesterday. But I want to remind everybody, this wasn't our offense. Our offense, he was threw for over 300 yards yesterday. Our offense, other than the turnover and the fumble, played really well. Our defense did not show up. They did not show up. They didn't show up, y'all. And I'm going to tell you something. I understand they're young. They got over the top every single time. We could not stop Missouri. Not until they scored. They'd score and then magically we get the
Vanderbilt.
ball back. Oh, Vanderbilt. Sorry. That's how discombobulated I am. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. Hmm. I don't know how we can go from beating Georgia, which, we all have those questions that how did they come back? How did they come back in the second after that game? And then I know we didn't lay down for Missouri, but it almost felt like at least until the
Vanderbilt, Wendy.
Vanderbilt,
Vanderbilt.
Okay, for the 100th time, Vanderbilt. I still can't believe we lost to Vanderbilt. I mean, that's how hard it is to commute to the brain
Lay
that we
down for
actually lost.
Vanderbilt. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
But the problem is, it's like our defense didn't even understand until almost the middle of the fourth quarter. Oh, we might not be able to come back from this.
Yeah.
Their clock management was off the chain. They had the ball 58 minutes of the game. I'm sure I'm over exaggerating, but they had the ball. They did the same play, Trey, every time. And I know I'm all over the place. It was first down, they throw it a couple yards or run it for a couple yards. It was the same play calling the entire four quarters. How we never figured it out, I'll never know. Now, listen, I'm not a defensive coach. They don't pay me a bajillion dollars to get out here and coach. But at some point, I'd have said, let's play backyard football. Y'all figure out how to make this happen, because it's almost like we were sticking to the play, whatever the defense was calling, too much. I mean, we never even got close to making an interception. We never even got close to knocking a ball out. I mean, it was absolutely insanity. And I've got 1,000 other things I could say, but get off TikTok, defense. Get off TikTok. Stop making videos. Go practice football every day and go out there and win ball games. You lost to Vanderbilt. You lost to Vanderbilt. Now, this isn't the worst thing that can happen for our season. It's a loss if we win out the rest of the year. But now I have to cheer for Vanderbilt. And it's like, who in the heck cheers for Vanderbilt? Who cheers for Vanderbilt? Well, I do now. Now I do. I mean, Trey,
Wendy,
I'm sad. I'm sad. I'm just sad.
it's like Justin Timberlake says,
Yeah.
cry me a river.
River, and I've been
Cry
crying
me a
since
river.
last night. I mean, what do you do? What do you do?
You cry yourself. Well, Wendy, you make a lot of really good points. And listen, it happens. I've got some things written down here. The level of football that I played, which was basically like a high level high school football, is really what I played.
Right.
I played in Alabama. I played in the highest classification. So it was high level high school football. I never played
Yep.
in college. So it's a little bit different up there. But what happened to Alabama's defense last night? If you have played football, especially defense, you have been in a game like this. I
Right.
remember there's a certain team that we would play every year that for some reason, I think one time they ran the same play 36 times,
Right.
and they beat us by 50 points.
Right.
You get into these games and you just don't have an answer. Like you think you know what you're doing and you think and you make a little adjustment here or there, but they just beat you. And there's
Right.
nothing you can do about it. Wendy, I will tell you, those Alabama defensive players felt helpless. It is a
Right.
helpless feeling when you're out there and you think you know what you're doing. They hit the 4th-and-1 pass deep when we were about to sack him, and the guy barely catches it. I mean,
Right.
there was a lot of these things that just really went their way. There was a couple of penalties that let that drive go on in the first half that was a 47-minute drive.
Right. Right.
We have 2 number 2s on the field. That's coaching. That
That's
is
coaching.
coaching. So,
That's coaching.
all in all, it happens. Okay, there's a couple other things that I wrote down that I really want to get to. It didn't seem like we were ready to play. That's fairly easy. Turnovers. The turnovers came at critical times. One
Yes.
turnover was a pick six. One turnover was in the fourth quarter when I think everybody thought Alabama was about to go score and take the lead
Right.
and
Right.
somehow figure out a way to get out of the game. That
Right.
did not happen. Did
Right.
not seem to make any adjustments. Seemingly did not. I'm not watching the film, but it looked like we lined up the same way. It didn't look like
Every time.
anybody was coming towards the line. And I said this in my text thread. At least that Roll Tide Willie guy, the Roll Tide Willie guy would have blitzed at some point. Hell, send every one of them. Send
Yep,
every
blitz.
player.
Yep.
Send them all in there.
They're
Put
gonna
one
score
guy on the goal
anyway.
line. Yeah, see what you can do. So that's something that's funny. There were two big things that I'm really disappointed in this team. And one is we're talking way too much.
Right.
We're running our mouths like are we out there to win a talking game or are we out there to play football? We
Right.
like to talk a little bit this year. We
Right.
got into talking. I don't know that I like that. Might need to step back a little bit on that. That's really not Alabama football. We go out there and you play football. And the other big thing that I did not like, and I hope somebody from Alabama is listening, we've got a guy knocked out cold as a wedge on the field. He's knocked out. If you're a human and watching, you know the kid's knocked out. We don't
Right.
have one, and I'm sorry if I'm yelling, we don't have one Alabama football player walk over to our guy on the ground knocked out.
Right.
It's
Yep.
ridiculous. And
Yep.
everybody on Alabama's football staff and football team should be ashamed of what
Yes.
they're doing out there. You go help your player up. And
Yep.
if you're taught not to touch the player when he's hurt, go at least stand by him where he
Right.
knows he's got somebody on his side.
That's right.
Not go over there. We probably had half our team over there talking to Vanderbilt while we've got
Right.
players laid out on the field. We had
Yep.
Dupree laid out on the field, or another tight end laid out on the field. Nobody goes
Right.
over there to help him. Nobody,
Yep.
go over there, stand by him. Go over there and tell him
Right.
it's going to be okay. It's ridiculous, and it is
Yep.
ridiculous. And I'm
Yep.
frustrated about that. I'm sorry I go off on a tangent about that, but that is not acceptable.
It's not Alabama football.
It's not Alabama football. And I will give credit to Vandy. Vandy was ready to play football.
They sure were.
Alabama knew what was coming. It like
Yep.
DeBoer said, and hey, DeBoer, we love you, man. Y'all are all good. Just keep coaching.
Yep.
I mean, this stuff
Right.
happens. Welcome on in to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yep.
If you didn't, if you didn't, you might not have experienced it all yet. I have a feeling this week and the next few weeks you're going to experience a little bit more of the Crimson Tide. It does happen. But DeBoer said it at the end his press conference, Wendy. He said we knew what they were going to do. This is
Right.
not, hey, Alabama in 1937 going out to the Rose Bowl and running the triple option and nobody
Right.
had ever seen it. I mean, or
Right.
the wing tee, whatever it was back then. This is Vanderbilt. This is what they're going to do. And Alabama never made an adjustment.
No, not one time.
That's the problem, Winnie, and that's kind of my rant on the theme. Still like Alabama, still think we have a lot of really good players.
100%.
And now it's just going to come down to how do these guys react? How do they
respond?
How do they respond? How do they get back to playing football? And you got a week this week coming up to play South Carolina. Wendy, anything else on this Vanderbilt game?
A trillion things. So you made a really good point. The fumble in the fourth quarter killed us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we finally got the momentum back. I believe again, I want to make this very, 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 very clear. I thought our offense played really, really well, Trey. I really do. He was throwing the ball, we were catching the ball, we were running the ball. I mean, we still scored 35 points. We're not talking about that, 52 interceptions and everybody's dropping balls. Really, this goes back to defense. If you want to look at the game, I watched the entire game. You want to look at this game, this was a defensive problem. I don't have anything to say to DeBoer. I think our offense played lights out. Yeah, we had a couple horribly timed interceptions in the fumble being the biggest, y'all. The fumble being when that happened, I was like, I don't know. I think I texted in our family text thread. I don't know if we've got time now. Like they had been so good with managing that clock for the entirety of the game. Also, this quarterback for Vanderbilt was very scrappy. I want to remind everybody that Vanderbilt has nothing to lose. When you go into games like this, Vanderbilt has absolutely nothing to lose. It's either we're going to beat Alabama or we're going to get drilled by Alabama. They have nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. Take home field advantage, all that crap out of it. And that's exactly how they played. They were like, well, we ain't got nothing to lose, so let's go out here and try to win a game. You know what I mean? Also, though, the stuff that happened right there at the end of the game, like we Alabama is classy. Like that's how I've always imagined us to be or want us to be. And I understand there's frustration, but y'all did it. Y'all are the guys that got out there and played it. The defense, regardless of what anybody wants to say, Milroe threw for over 300 yards yesterday, y'all. This wasn't an offensive problem. This was a defensive problem. Right. And I'm going to say again, our defense is young. Totally get it. But our defense was young last week. I mean, they're 7 days older than they were the week before. Yeah. So, I mean, I think what we've got to do as a fan base is first, we've got to recognize, y'all, that Saban's first year, we did not win a national championship game. There's going to be some things that are going to have to be worked out. As fans, we cannot sit here and be like, F this coach, DeBoer. No. We're going to get behind our team. We are Roll Tide always. For the history of my life, we could win 0 games a year, and I'm still pulling for the University of Alabama. But get off the internet, get off the podcast, stop playing around, stop inviting. Yesterday, I see a video of an influencer, and they let him come on and put on the gear. Like, stop all that. Like, just go play football, man. Just go play football. That's what we do. It's what we do. So what's going to happen is we're going to move past this game. It's going to, like I said, at about 11:45, it stung a little bit less when Tennessee lost to Arkansas. I mean, it was hurting really bad. And then Tennessee lost to Arkansas, and I was like, well, that's not that bad. And somebody said this morning, well, also Missouri. And I was like, well, I never thought Missouri was good. So when Missouri lost, I was like, whatever. Okay. Like, that didn't bother me a bit. I thought they were terrible from the get-go. But when Tennessee lost, it was like, all right, okay, it hurts. It hurts in my heart. But Tennessee lost too, so that's the next game we need to move on to. But listen, Roll Tide, get off the internet, boys. Get off the internet and play football. Figure it out, defense. Your offense can't get you out of everything, guys. Like your offense was. They tried. They kept scoring for you. Y'all couldn't. Y'all never gave them an opportunity. And
Wendy, hold on. I just want to say one thing. There was never a 3 and out. Alabama never went 3 and out. Alabama today, this is Sunday, has still not stopped Vanderbilt. They never stopped Vanderbilt from the first play to the last play. That's disappointing. I will say a bright spot is this Ryan Williams.
Yeah. Oh, dude, played like that again.
This guy is, and I know he had the little drop there, but when he caught that ball in the second half and ran it in for a touchdown, Wendy, I mean, I'm not going to say it, but I am going to say it. This guy very well could be the best receiver Alabama's ever had.
The country.
I've never seen a guy play like this. Very, very, very proud of all. And listen, I'm proud of all the guys. Listen, you go out there, you're trying to win the game. It's not like Alabama's trying to lose the game. They're trying to win the game. But I will tell you one thing. Everybody's going to start looking around now. We're going to see the cream rise to the crop. We're going, or the top, however you want to say it, and we're going to figure out what kind of team we really do have, because it's still out in front of us. It's hard for me to imagine Alabama wins the national championship and got beat by Vanderbilt.
Hey, we've done. Listen.
Alabama wins the SEC championship and we got beat by Vanderbilt.
Okay, listen, you better shut your mouth. I'll come through this computer. I'm going to tell you something. Don't you dare put that out there, Ricky Bobby. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. We will be fine. If we win out, it's 1 loss. Also, Missouri lost, another undefeated team. Tennessee lost, another undefeated team. Georgia and Texas got to play each other. Somebody's losing. I mean, Lee Corso, and I know everybody, he's an old guy, this, that, and the other, but I still love the guy. He said it in the very, very first game day this year. He said, there will not be an undefeated team. And I'm starting to believe him. There may not be an undefeated team. They can't knock us out of the top 12 for losing to Vanderbilt. We beat Georgia the week before. We also didn't it's not like it was a 40-2 game or a 40-17.
Yeah,
we're going to win. I'm still going for the national championship. I don't know about the SEC at this point. It'd have to have a lot happen. But I'm going to tell you something. Don't you put that out in the air, Ricky Bobby. Don't you do it.
Well, I mean, and I think somebody said on the text thread, our text thread was great. I mean, it was entertaining. We have people jumping off cliffs, then we have people saving them, and then we have people positive and negative. And the text threads are incredible. And I think came across the text thread, this is kind of who Alabama is. I think we have to get ready for these type games.
Yes.
Where all of a sudden we're scoring so quick and, it's these muddled up games. I think with Saban, and everybody could point to different things, but it felt like with Saban, when you were up 28-0 or 28-7 at half, at some point in that second half, Saban and their teams would have like a 5, 6, 8, 9-minute drive and actually score a touchdown and really just break the will of the other team. And the game was kind of over. That does not seem to be the case with this Alabama team, but we move on to South Carolina next week. Wendy, let's go ahead and get to this. Well, I got to play a couple of messages. But Tennessee does go down to Arkansas, Wendy, and you really called it. I'm really shocked that Tennessee did not play better. I will say this. I know Tennessee's got a good defense. Understand, Arkansas beats Tennessee 19-14. Well, 7 of those points for Arkansas, Tennessee really did let them score at the end of the game. so
Right.
Tennessee could get the ball back. It was really the only way I think Tennessee thought they could get the ball back, and it probably
Right.
was. Tennessee, their quarterback and their offense really stagnant, really
Bad.
stagnant.
It
A
was
lot of
very
people getting,
surprising.
yeah, a lot of people getting hurt. You saw receivers going down left and right, and Nico, the $600 million man, and I do not bang on players because they're out there giving it their all.
Yes.
Runs out of bounds, Wendy.
Yeah.
You gotta
Didn't
throw
even
the
get,
you gotta throw the football, man. I mean,
didn't
it's
even give him
like
an opportunity. Like,
gotta throw the football. So Tennessee's woke up. Alabama's woke up. Tennessee's woke up. There's a couple of games we have to play, and AKA hello, we cannot overlook any game, but this Tennessee Alabama game could be crazier. Ticket prices might have went down, but it's gonna be crazy.
listen, I mean, again, everybody, I know the defense played well. Actually, the defense played really well. You can see that in the score 19-4. I mean, obviously, I was blown away at how bad the offense played. I didn't see that coming. Now I don't want to poo-poo on Arkansas as far as their home field advantage. Like they've got a big school, they've got a big
Yeah.
stadium. They were going wild. I mean, that's still a tough environment to play in. Most SEC schools are, including Vanderbilt now, with their whole 5,000 people that rush the field. But okay, I'm surprised they even figured out a way to get the goalposts down. I'm gonna tell you when I'm gonna have a problem when people stop tearing goalposts down when they beat me. Then Alabama's got a problem, y'all. Everybody, let's calm down. They're still ripping goalposts down when they beat us. We're gonna be all right. But let me tell you something, Trey. Tennessee's going to have to figure out the offense. Really, Josh Heupel is going to have to figure out the offense. I said it after the Oklahoma game. I wasn't sold on them after the Oklahoma game. Everybody's like, oh, this, oh, that. And I'm like, I feel like they should have outscored them by 30 points, and they didn't. They really didn't. Oklahoma ended up coming back right there at the end. But some dirty plays went on in that game. A lot of injuries went on in that game.
Yeah.
But here was the biggest mistake. And it's not even a mistake. This kid is 18 years old. This kid is a year older than my son. A year older. He's the same age as my daughter, Maylee Jane Rutter. I mean, this is not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't even give his guys a chance. You just lob it up there. There's 0 seconds on the clock, man. If they intercept it and run it back, okay.
Yeah.
You run out of bounds.
Yeah,
So,
it comes back. I don't mean to interrupt you, Wendy, but it comes back to it's hard to win on the road. I mean, you hear Kirby Smart talk about it all the time. You hear all these coaches talk about it all the time. Alabama goes down on the road. Tennessee goes down on the road. Missouri goes down on the road. There were all kind of craziness. USC gets beat on the road by Minnesota. And Wendy, we're going to do this. We're going to play some messages real quick. Wendy, these are teams that that are weathering the storm better than others. We have Clemson making their run. Looks like they're going to run it. Miami with a big comeback win against Cal last night.
Questionable calls Miami's getting, y'all. I'm just telling you, there is some questionable calls these Miami Hurricanes get.
I was asleep. Penn State still running. The Indiana Hoosiers, Wendy, look out. A basketball school becoming a football school. Is Texas A&M going to become a problem? If Texas A&M becomes a problem, I'll have to watch them. Pittsburgh keeps running along. And how about the teams that protect this country, and that is Army and Navy, both either 4 and 5 and 0. I think they're both 5 and 0 for the first time in a long time. So a lot of good football team is to be played. Let me share the screen here, Wendy, and we've only got a couple of messages. Let me see if I can do this.
Are they before or after the game?
Can you see it? Oh, wait. I can't. I got to do it a different way. Because you got the share sound right there. Yes. Did I do it right? Okay.
Hey, this is Karen from Knoxville. I was gonna say something, but there's nothing really to say. It's 10 after 8 in Knoxville, and I'm fixing to go to bed. Roll Tide.
That was obviously after the game. We have another one.
Hey, this is Karen again. When we win the national championship, this will all be like a bad dream.
That's right.
Roll Tide.
So she is building some confidence. Listen, we have another one come flying in from the back.
Hey, this is Karen from Knoxville. Well, you know, they say defenses win games, and yesterday they lost one. I hope it was a one-off, but that horrendous display should turn our defense around. I hope so. Also, I want to say happy birthday to my brother Joey. It's his birthday today. And roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. There you have it. Karen from Knoxville had a lot to say. She went to bed, then she thought about it, and then she's got back up today. She probably felt like a lot of Alabama players did. I mean, a lot of Alabama fans did.
Yep.
Shout out to our uncle Joey. It's his
Yes.
birthday today. Wendy, I don't know when I'm gonna put this out. Sometimes I'll put this out on Sunday, and sometimes I'll wait a day or two. I'm not sure when I'm gonna put this out. But Wendy, it's been great catching up. I know you're going on a trip this week. What do you got written down?
Well, I don't know if you can read it.
Get off TikTok and play football. Roll Tide always. Wendy wants our boys off of TikTok.
I want to do a big quick shout out. So I was in Tuscaloosa for a dinner that Maylee had and met the sweetest girls. Their name is Ava and Lauren. Met multiple sweet girls. But Ava and Lauren, when I tell you they love college football, they love college football. So big shout out to them. You know, I love seeing girls be passionate about this sport. It's not just a men's sport. Sometimes I think, and just to listen to these girls, it really reminded me of my young self. I've always been into this sport. We've always enjoyed talking about it. So shout out to Ava and Lauren. It was so awesome hanging out with you guys. But Trey, let me just end it with this. We're going to be okay. We just got to move on from this game. South Carolina's a scrappy little team. I call them a little thuggish. I mean, their biggest problem is discipline. If I'm being honest, like to me, their biggest problem is discipline. It's an 11 o'clock game. It's an early game. It should be hot. I've got another storm pattern rolling through. Don't know how that'll affect it. So we just got to pull up the bootstraps and let's move on and let's go out there and let's beat South Carolina. I mean, that's just what we got to do. I'm not going to sit here and call for a coach's head. Our offense played really well, but our defense has got to figure some things out.
Yeah, defense had to figure some things out. And listen, we've got Alabama versus South Carolina. We have Texas versus Oklahoma next week. We have Georgia versus Mississippi State. We've got the Ole Miss Rebels, who did not remove their basketball goal. They're sticking with the basketball goal. It even travels with them. Still think it's a problem. Ole Miss will play LSU. Winnie. Good slate of games next week. Don't think we'll be able to get back on here. I might see if somebody else in the tech thread wants to get on here and preview the games. I love you. Stay safe. Enjoy your trip and roll tide. I love you, baby.
Hey, roll tide always. Let's go. Love you.